The air in the house had always been thick with an unspoken tension. It was a kind of pressure that you could never quite put your finger on, but it was there, lurking behind every conversation, every glance, every moment of silence. James had worked tirelessly for years, building a future not just for himself but for his entire family. He had fought against all odds, rising from nothing to create a business that was thriving. His success was meant to be a beacon of hope, a testament to the resilience and determination that had burned within him since childhood. But success, as he was learning, came with its own shadows. It started subtly, small things, numbers that didn't quite add up in the accounts, deals that slipped through without explanation, employees who began acting strangely around him. At first, he brushed it off. Mistakes happened, people changed. It was part of life. But then the whispers began. "You need to watch your back," an old friend told him one evening. "Someone close to you, they're not who they seem." James laughed it off, but the word stayed with him, settling deep into his thoughts. Who could it be? His friends? His business partners? No, they had been with him from the start, through thick and thin. His mind reeled at the possibilities. One night, unable to shake off the nagging feeling, he decided to go through the company records himself. He spent hours poring over every document, every transaction, looking for the anomaly that had been plaguing his business. And then he found it. A slow, systematic siphoning of funds, a betrayal meticulously hidden behind layers of forged documents and false trails. The realization sent a chill down his spine. The betrayal wasn't from an outsider. It wasn't a competitor or a random thief. The signature on those forged documents, the one person who had the access, the knowledge, the motive, was someone he had trusted beyond all else. It was his own brother. James' hands shook as he stared at the undeniable proof before him. The weight of it crushed him. This was the brother who had shared his childhood struggles, who had laughed with him during the hard times, who had stood by his side, or so he had thought. The pain was more than betrayal. It was a deep wound, an ache that threatened to consume him. He wanted to scream, to confront, to demand answers. But he knew he had to play it smart. He had to understand why. What had driven his own blood to turn against him? Was it jealousy? Greed? Or something deeper, more sinister? The next morning, James sat across from his brother, the weight of his discovery pressing on his chest. "I know what you've been doing," he said quietly, watching his brother's face for any flicker of guilt, remorse, or even anger. But what he saw instead was something unexpected. Relief. His brother exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "I thought you'd never find out," he admitted, his voice laced with something that James couldn't quite place. "I didn't want it to come to this." James clenched his fist beneath the table. "Then why did you do it?" His brother's eyes darkened. "Because you were always the one who succeeded. No matter how hard I tried, you always outshined me. I was tired of living in your shadow." The words cut deeper than James had expected. He had always believed they were in this together, that their struggles had united them. He had never imagined that the person he had fought for, had sacrificed for, had cheered for, was the very one rooting for his downfall. Betrayal has a way of breaking even the strongest spirits. But James knew this wasn't the end of his story. This was only the beginning of a lesson that would change him forever. The weight of his brother's confession settled over James like a suffocating fog. He could hear the resentment in his brother's voice, see the bitterness in his eyes. It wasn't just about money. It was about something far deeper. Years of comparison, of unspoken competition, of wounds that had festered in silence. James took a slow breath, steadying himself. "And this was your solution?" he asked, his voice measured but firm. "To steal from me? To sabotage everything I built?" His brother's jaw tightened. "I never meant to destroy you," he muttered. I wanted a chance. A chance to be seen, to be recognized for what I could do. But every time I tried, you were always there, always ahead." James shook his head, disbelief warring with the ache in his chest. "You think I had it easy? You think I didn't struggle, didn't fight for every inch of what I built?" His voice rose, the raw emotion finally breaking free. "I would have given you anything if you had just asked. We were supposed to rise together, not tear each other down." His brother looked away, shame flickering in his expression, but the damage was done. Trust, something so fragile, so sacred, had been shattered beyond repair. James knew he had a choice to make. He could let this betrayal consume him, allow the bitterness to take root, or he could rise above it. He had fought too hard, sacrificed too much to let this break him. "You've made your choice," James said finally, his voice quiet but unwavering. "And now I have to make mine." He stood, feeling the weight of years lift from his shoulders. He wouldn't let this define him. He wouldn't let his brother's betrayal poison his heart. Instead, he would channel this pain into something greater, an unshakable resolve to keep moving forward. As he walked away, he knew one thing for certain. True strength isn't just about overcoming external obstacles. It's about rising above the betrayals, the heartbreaks, and the unexpected battles that come from within. Months passed, and James rebuilt not just his business, but himself. He learned that betrayal, no matter how painful, was not the end of the road. It was a lesson, a stepping stone. He surrounded himself with people who truly supported him, who believed in him without envy or hidden agendas. One evening, as he stood in his office, looking over the city he had fought to conquer, he realized something powerful. His brother's betrayal had not destroyed him. It had strengthened him. It had taught him to be cautious, to value loyalty, and most importantly, to never let anyone's bitterness define his path. He forgave his brother, not for his sake, but for his own peace. Carrying resentment would have been another chain holding him back. And James had decided a long time ago he was meant to soar, not to be weighed down by the past. In the end, success wasn't just about financial gain or accomplishments. It was about resilience, about rising despite the odds, about proving that no matter who tried to break him, he would never fall. Because the strongest warriors are forged in the fires of betrayal. And James, he was unstoppable.